Right, week 3 we're going to be having a look at adding and subtracting fractions, which we did have a look at in term 1, so that should be a bit of revision for us. So what makes up a fraction? You've got both the top and the bottom number. The top number called the numerator and the bottom number the denominator. Okay, simplifying fractions is summed up quite nicely by this little sentence here. Fractions can be simplified if both the numerator and denominator, the top and the bottom number, share a highest common factor. So in an example here, we've got 8 and 12. They both share the highest common factor of 4. So dividing 8 by 4 we get 2, and dividing 12 by 4 we get 3. Then we simplified our fraction. If they do, both the numerator and the denominator can be divided by that number, which is what we just did. Okay, let's have a look at these ones. With the first one, we've got 9 over 27. So first thing I'm going to do is write out both those numbers and write out their factors. So for 9, we've got 1, 9, and 3 times 3 as their factors. For 27, we've got 1, 27, 1 times 27 is 27, and 3 times 9. Then have a look, what's the highest common factor that's common to both those sets of numbers? 9 is the biggest number between both of those sets, the top and the bottom set. So we're going to use that as our highest common factor and divide the top and the bottom number by 9. So divide by 9, divide by 9, so we got 1 over 3. Do the same thing with the next one. We've got 15 and 45. Factors, 1 and 15. And 3 times 5. 45, we've got, what do we have with that one? We've got 1 and 45. We've got 9 and 5. And we've got 3 and 15. So between both of those, the highest common factor, 15, which is common to both those sets. So 15 over 45, we divide both the top and the bottom by our highest common factor, 15, to get 1 over 3. Okay, and lastly we've got 49 on 56. So let's look at some factors. For 49, we've got 1, 49, and we have 7. For 56, we've got 1 times 56, we've got 2 times 28, 4 times 14, and 7 times 8. Okay, let's have a look. What ones are the highest common factors between those two? Looks like it's going to be the 7. So 49 over 56, divide both the top and the bottom by the highest common factor, 7, to get 7 times 7 is 49, and 8 times 7 is 56. I want you guys to have a go at these yourselves before you're clicking on to continue. Right, doing these the same way, write out your factors, find the common factor to both, and then divide both the top and the bottom number, numerator and denominator, by that highest common factor. Right, this is practice for you to do by yourselves. If you can already see the highest common factor, there's no need for you to write out every single factor if you know your times tables really well. But it may help for some of you that aren't quite strong in your times tables yet. So have a go at both of these. With these ones, so when I put up the answers, I'm not going to write down every single factor. I'm just going to show you what the highest common factor is that I'm dividing by. Right, here are the answers. That last one may have stumped you for a good 30 seconds or so until you realise the highest common factor is in fact 1 between both those sets of numbers. Okay, simplify these following fractions. Pause it whilst you do so you don't see the answers. Okay, I'll just leave that slide up for a couple of seconds before it transitions to the next one so you can have a quick look over your answers. Alright, adding and subtracting fractions. Now with adding and subtracting fractions, it's important to make sure that both of the bottom numbers are the same. If they're not the same, you need to simplify. So with this first one, when you're adding and subtracting fractions, it's important to make sure that the denominators are the same. If the denominators aren't the same, then you can't do any operations with them, with both the adding and subtracting. So with this first example, the denominator is 4, so we can add those. So 1/4 plus 1/4 gives us 2/4, which is a half after we simplified it. And we can do that because both of those denominators are the same. So let's have a look at these ones. So do our check first. Denominator is the same. So even before I do anything else, I can write down that bottom number because it's going to be the same. 8 plus 3 is 11. And then if they ask you to simplify, you'll take the 9 out, make it to a 1, go 9, 10, 11. You've got 2 left over 9. Same with subtracting. Bottom number's the same, so I can write down that straight away. 6. 21 minus 3. It's going to give us 18. And then simplify. How many times does 6 go into 18? 3 times. And lastly, both the bottom numbers are 13. 14 plus 12 gives us 26, which simplifies to 2. Right, pause it here, have a go at these 3 questions. Alright, pause here and do the next 6 questions that you see. Alright, have a look at the answers here. If you didn't quite get the answer that I got, just make sure you fully simplified your answer and made it into a proper fraction. Right, as you've seen a second ago, adding fractions or subtracting fractions with like denominators is quite simple and straightforward. If they're not the same, then we're going to need to adjust them so we both have the same denominator. Right, this first method here is called the butterfly because if you draw it out, it looks a bit like a butterfly with the wings. So draw the rings and antennas and cross multiply. So you'll see at the bottom we've got a 4 on this side. We want to multiply it by everything on this side, on the left hand side. And the 5 we want to multiply it by everything on the right hand side. So 5 times 3 is 15 there. Draw the tail and multiply the denominators as well. So 5 times the 4 is the 20, and the 4 times the 5 is the 20. If you've done it right, both the denominators will work out to be the same. This works every single time. It may not get you the lowest numbers, but it'll always get you the same denominator. So we've got the same denominator. Now all we need to do is add those two numbers, our 4 and our 15. Then we get 19 over 20. Right, with this one, both the denominators are different, so we're going to have to use the butterfly method. So grab the 5 from one side, multiply it by everything on the left side, and the same for the 6 on the left hand side, multiply it by everything on the right side, and both the denominators. So both the denominators give 30, and we have numerators of 10 and 18, add those together and we get 28 over 30. Then to simplify, 14 over 15. Right, let's have a go at this one. Both the denominators are different. So I'm going to do the butterfly method again. So the 6 here, multiply it by everything on this side, and the 7 here, multiply it by everything on the left hand side. And then both your denominators together as well to get 42. There's a mistake there. Okay, this 42 is correct. That one is not. Right, moving on. So disregard that 35. I'll cross that out. And we're going to have to simplify the rest of that as well. So I'll change into 42 down here. So this one will be 17 on 42, which, just skip that step, go straight down to there, which is what it is. Alright, with this one, both the denominators are different, so there's 3 times it by everything on this side, and the 5 times it by everything on the right hand side. So 4 times 3 is 12, 1 times 5 is 5, and they're both over 15, which is 5 times 3 and 3 times 5. This gives us 17 over 15, or 1 and 2/15. Okay, with the next one, both the denominators are different, so same again. Get the 8, times it by everything on the right hand side, and get the 6 down here and times it by everything on the left hand side. Right, 7 times 6, 42, 1 times 8 is 8, and then for our denominator, 8 times 6 and 6 times 8 are both 48. This gives us 34 and 48, which will simplify to 17 on 24. Okay, pause here, and then we'll have a go at doing both of these ones together. Okay, denominator is different, so get the 3 times it by everything on the left hand side, get the bottom number here, times it by everything on the right hand side, and then you get 5 times 3 is 15, 1 times 6 is 6, 6 times 3 is 18, and 3 times 6 is 18. This will give us 9 on 18, or 1 on 2. Next one, same again, denominators are different, so get this 8, times it by everything on this side, 3, everything on this side, 9 3 is 27, 2 8s are 16, 8 3 is 24, or 3 8s are 24. Okay, that'll be 43 on 24, or simplifying down because the top number is bigger than the bottom number, 1 and 19 on 24. Okay, last slide here. I want you to pause, have a go at these, and then compare what you got to the answers, which are going to come up in a second. Right, compare what you got to those answers there, making sure you've simplified where possible.